In a land where cacti outnumber cell towers and the horizon stretches further than a fiber optic cable, it's time for Valley's Bits, Bytes and Banter, the podcast that looks a bit behind the scenes of a broadband provider, takes a big bite out of the tech world, and serves up a healthy dose of banter with people in our community. And now, without further ado, here's your host, Bob Dahlstrom.
Hey, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Bits, Bytes, and Banter, the podcast I do here with my partner in crime, Ralph Score. I'm Bob Dahlstrom.
It's a good thing we don't have the cops on today.
Why is that?
Because we're partners in crime.
We are partners in crime. Don't tell anybody, although I told everybody. And thanks for tuning in, guys. We appreciate you listening to our podcast. And if you don't know, there's many, many places you can download our episodes. You can go to Podbean, where we host them, podbean.com. Or you can go to Apple, search them there, Spotify, iHeart, search Valley's Bits with an apostrophe S. That's where you find it. Or you can go to our YouTube channel.
Yep.
For Valley Telecom's YouTube channel, or our website, vtc.net/blog.
Yep, you'll find all the episodes right there.
Or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
How you doing today, Ralph?
I'm good. So, we've been talking about a lot of the new stuff we got going on, and of course, we talk about the Pirate Gaming Network, which is brand new to us, which is real exciting, because esports is such a big thing now. I think, we're looking at Eastern Arizona College has an esports program, and it's amazing what's happened with that. I can remember friends of mine going, I'm going to be a gamer and make a living. And I went, you're going to make a living at gaming? And now, guess what?
They have sponsors, like skateboarding,
it's
right?
reality.
The young kids that were really good at doing it, you will get a sponsor. You will get paid to do that.
Yeah, even Pluto TV has an actual esports channel.
Do they now?
Yeah. So,
well, and high school programs are starting to start esports programs in the high schools, and with the one at Eastern Arizona College, you can actually get scholarships. To go and attend EAC and do esports.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
It's a big thing, and something we might start getting into a little bit more too.
As
far as Valley goes,
I think we talked about teams and that kind of stuff.
We have.
I'm going to be a water boy.
You're going to be the water boy.
That's it. Yeah,
I'll be the sub.
Yeah,
they go in, somebody like cramps in the thumb or something. I need somebody to go in. I'm your guy.
Button mashing. Yeah,
button mashing.
Yeah, we're going to be the Button Mashers. That's going to be the name of our team.
I listed that on my resume.
The Valley Button Mashers.
Button mashing.
I like that.
Actually, I've been working on some logos and some names for a Valley team.
We're going to have a contest, I think.
I like that idea. I like that idea. We'll do it. I'm on board. I'm sold.
Yeah.
Ralph, tell us about some of the facts you brought today.
The spurious facts of the day. This is my favorite part of the show, of course, and we might have to open up our guest microphone for part of this because I got a couple of out here, and I got a couple of music ones here that'll apply to me. So, okay. All right. So, did you know that sharks love the taste of the internet? That's right.
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
If shark attacks give you the heebie-jeebies, you and people over at Google aren't alone, right? Because in 1987, it was reported by the New York Times that sharks have shown an inexplicable taste for the new fiber optic cables that are being strung along the ocean floor linking the United States to Europe and Japan. So it's a good thing that we're not on the ocean because we're a fiber optic company. That's right.
We are as landlocked as we can be we are here in Southeast Arizona and Southwest New Mexico.
Now, here's a music one for our guest today, right? Did you know that professional cheese makers are studying if music can change the taste of cheese?
My mic is on. This is on.
It is now.
Yeah. Did you know that, Reed?
I don't know, but I like music and I like cheese.
So why not?
Two things I have written down: music, cheese.
Music check, cheese check.
It says Swiss cheesemaker Beat Wampler. How's that? That's a real name, Beat Wampler. Right, he plays songs from bands like Led Zeppelin and A Tribe called Quest during his cheese producing process, and with the help of students from the University of Arts in Bern, he's studying to see if and how music can change the flavor of mental cheese.
Well, Metallica, they have their own whiskey, right?
Yeah,
blackened.
Lots of them do.
Yeah. Lots of them do.
Lots of artists have their own whiskey. They have their own.
But they've created playlists that they play against the casks, that the different vibrations bring out different flavors.
Wow.
Metallica actually has different playlists that they do that.
So why
so in
would
other
it
words,
work
they
with cheese?
Taste test it all the time.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I got it.
A lot of research.
Yeah.
A lot of research.
Right.
Okay. And finally, did you know there is a 3,400-year-old song? It's the Hurrian hymn number 6.
Ah, that one.
It's
Not number 5.
No,
number 6.
Number 6.
I played that on
Got
the
it.
air this morning.
It's actually considered the Earth's earliest melodies, dating back to the 14th century. It was inscribed in cuneiform on clay tablets, which were excavated by archaeologists from the ancient city of Ugarit, which is now in Syria. You can actually listen to the tune performed on lyre by composer Michael Levy, and I guess he must be a partner of Beat Wampler. So,
And I think it's listed in Billboard's Hot 100 right now,
like that.
with a bullet.
Or the Hot 3400.
It's coming up.
Yeah. So anyway.
Wow.
So, and I think that's going to wrap us up for these spurious facts.
I have
of the
something
day.
for you here.
Okay, Bob. What do you
I
got?
have a question for everybody here in the room. Redbox. We're all familiar with Redbox, right?
Yep.
Do you know who conceived of the idea of the Redbox kiosks?
No, but I was there when he announced it.
Do you have any idea?
No clue.
It was McDonald's.
Oh.
McDonald's actually are the ones that conceived the Redbox kiosks because they thought customers preferred total control if they could, and they even experimented with convenience store type vending machines in some of their restaurants. They loved the idea. They started Redbox, and Coinstar in 2005 loved it so much they bought 47% share of it, and in 2009 they bought out McDonald's
Wow.
of Redbox. They owned it till 2009.
Wow.
And you know that they have these kiosks now
Well, they're all
in
over
their
the place.
restaurants where you don't have to talk to anybody. See, that's where that
Yeah.
concept
Yeah.
came from. Was back from them doing Redbox
Wow.
kiosks. Boom. Mind blown.
But they still want a tip.
Yeah.
Please.
You
Yeah.
talk to anybody when you want.
Yeah.
You can leave me a
20%.
tip.
Thank you very
It's
much.
okay. Yeah. all right.
Isn't that kind of like we were talking about the driverless cars? Do you have to tip the driver in the driverless cars?
I carry some microchips in my pocket just for that kind of such an occasion. You never know.
I throw poker chips at him in Vegas. Here's a tip: buy Amalgamated.
And then
That's
you
right.
see them at the craps table later that night.
That's
They're all
right.
like on a winning
That's right.
streak.
He's got that whole thing that's spinning around in his head. Know what it is? Yeah.
So you can thank Redbox. Thanks McDonald's
For
that.
Redbox.
For the
I'll remember
Redbox.
that.
I had no idea.
I'll remember that. I'll remember that.
Interesting stuff. And speaking of interesting stuff, after this break, we're going to get into the discussion with our special guest today. We'll introduce him and
Special?
get it going. You are special.
I'm special.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever told me special.
Well, you heard it here first. We'll be back in just a minute, gang. Stick around.
Hey, are you playing Fortnite? Yeah. Let's go, man. I'm gonna beat you so bad. You know I could go pro if I wanted to. You do not stand a chance. Besides, we always just play against each other.
Yeah, that's true.
We need to find more people to play with.
Hey, Valley Telecom has the Fiber Gaming Network, an online community where we can compete in tournaments and win real prizes, or just meet new gamers and participate in casual game nights.
Whoa, that's so cool. But how much does it cost?
It's actually free. Valley Telecom is providing this to their community at no charge. We just go to vtc.net/gaming and sign up.
Wow, that's so awesome. Now I can show everyone I'm the best.
Get in the game with a fiber gaming network powered by Valley Telecom. Go to vtc.net/gaming to sign up today.
Welcome back to Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter, our podcast with my co-host and partner in crime, Ralph Score. I thought you were going to say something there, Ralph.
No, that's the.
And if you have any questions, comments, ideas, suggestions, email them to us at podcast@teamvtg.net. But I want to introduce our special guest today. And yeah, you are special. I think so, Reed. Our guest
I'm
today is
special.
our guest today.
They say that about special education students.
I can't get over the special part.
He's just stuck on the word special. It's the way I said it. It's magic. Our guest today is an Animas, New Mexico product, graduated class of 88, right?
Yeah.
See, I had that right.
When they were really kicking butt in football.
And they were
Yeah, that was an
nationally
understatement.
known.
Yeah, that was an understatement.
He has a degree in electronics technology from EAC and NAU. Started working at McMurray Communications way back in 1990. Started his morning show. Is that when your morning show started? Was 91?
No, well, yeah, maybe late 91, somewhere in there.
He became the operations manager of the stations, plural, radio stations shortly after. Became owner of the stations in 2018. You bought the stations and renamed them Double R Communications. He's very involved in the local community and member of numerous organizations in the Gila Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Reed Richins. Reed, how you doing, man?
Wait. when they introduced you, you got applause.
Wait, I
That
got
is
some,
true.
I got some
Well,
for
hold
you
on a second.
here.
Let me come back.
Wait.
Ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, Reed Richins.
We got it.
Or you get the crickets. One or the other. Applause or crickets.
Well,
I'm
hi.
sorry.
And before,
I'm sorry, nobody clapped.
you got to go back farther before the Animas, New Mexico.
How far back?
It was Odessa, Texas.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was born in Odessa, Texas.
Odessa, Texas.
Midland,
Yeah.
Odessa.
How
Yeah.
long did you live there?
Until I was 10.
Until you're 10. That's when you moved down?
Yeah, like a week after I turned 10, I moved to Animas. My grandparents and great grandparents basically settled the Animas Valley. So,
Oh, very cool.
yeah. So I grew up, and then they moved in Odessa, Texas, where the Permian Panthers and Friday
Yeah.
Night Lights. That whole thing was real.
You know what? You know
Yeah.
what Permian stands for? Big brown dry spot in Texas.
Oh yeah, and smelly too.
Yeah.
Really smelly.
Yeah.
And then
So descriptive.
moved to New Mexico and moved to Animas, and they became the Panthers became a football
Yeah.
powerhouse. So
Big time.
And they were. I mean, they were nationally known.
oh yeah, I think it was 72-0.
Yeah.
7 state championships in a row.
Yeah. They were
So
featured
from the
in
time
all
I
kinds.
was like in 8th grade till 2 years after I graduated, they never lost a football game. It was crazy.
That's nuts. I
Yeah.
mean, can you imagine being the first team to lose a game
Well, yeah.
and break that streak?
Yeah, well,
oh, my goodness.
I was there. I was there. It was in Lordsburg, New Mexico.
Really, of all places, it was Lordsburg.
Yeah, I think the score was like 7-6.
Oh, what a game.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if I'm remembering right, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
So.
What a game.
I think the thing I remember most about like that level of ball was like not the 7-6s, but the 78-74. You know,
Right.
And I
wide
can
open
tell you-
offense.
I can tell you, I only played my freshman year because music kind of took over my whole life. And then,
Right.
but my freshman year I played, and so we got to play because number one, there's not many kids out there.
Yeah.
Number two, when the starting offense had already scored 60 before halftime,
Yeah.
the coach and he would literally tell you, if you score, you will run laps on Monday.
Yeah, if you
We don't
score,
wanna
I
end the
will
game
kill
early.
you.
If you get a fumble and you're on the fall down, don't score on these guys again. It's just
Yeah.
don't do it.
Right. Yeah. We don't want to end the game.
Yeah, and that happened a lot. It was
Right.
real
So
dominant back then.
did you run a lot of laps? Is that what you're saying?
No. That was an old offensive lineman. They wouldn't let me near the ball. Are you kidding me?
Give it to Reed. You
Yeah,
want to stay in the
no,
game.
not
Let him carry
happening.
it.
Yeah.
So, what got you into radio? You said music's a big deal in your life. Always has been. I mean, playing.
Well, and it's weird. I got into radio by accident.
Yeah.
Like literally, it was kind of a weird deal. But I mean, I played music my whole life. I've DJ'd dances and parties since I was like 14 years old.
Right.
Me and my little buddy growing up together. He was a couple years older than me. He could drive. I couldn't drive. And I was. We had a little company called Illusion. That was my first DJ company. And,
Nice.
And we played the high school dances, and then we got to play in more of them. And I was at the same time I was playing drums in a band up in Silver City, New Mexico, with some kids that were my age, and more like a fiddle kind of a bluegrass band,
Yeah.
And it's just music and DJ and dances, and then I just started doing that, and I just kept doing it, and I ended up here at Eastern Arizona College. I got in a band called Secondhand News. That was
I remember them.
You do?
I do.
Well, there was a lot of craziness going on in that band. It was a rock band. We played on the road. We had an agent, and during the summertime, we would, hit what I can't tell you on this what we used to call the tour that they sent us on.
We appreciate you keeping it PG.
We'll just say it was the B circuit and keep it nice. But and so we played all over Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, that kind of a thing, and in parts of California. And so music was always there, always just music. And I was always the sound guy in the band. I always owned the sound equipment. And so when I ended up here at Eastern Arizona College, I had a really good electronics technology program at the time, really top notch.
Yeah.
And you could, at the time, if you graduated with a 3-point something from Eastern Arizona College, you went to work at Honeywell in Tucson. They took everybody that came from that program.
Had a great reputation.
But that wasn't really for me,
Yeah.
I started, and I was playing music. I had gotten married, and my wife and I were in a band at the Stadium Club down here, right down the road here. And we were in a band together, and that's how we were making a living going to college. And one night we had replaced another husband and wife team. And one night the club owner came up and said, "Hey, those guys are coming back. You guys will be out in 2 weeks."
Wow.
Well, that was all we were doing for a living. We literally, that was it. So it was kind of devastating, but at the same time, my pride went, "No, you better get somebody next week because I'm not playing for you anymore." Kind of a deal.
We're done.
And then I regret, how am I going to pay my rent? How am I going to, But walked out, as I was walking out of the club that night, a guy named Paul Motor, and you might remember Paul. I don't know. He was sitting in there, probably 3 or 4 sheets to the wind. And I walked up to him and said, "Hey, I need a job." And he had graduated from the electronics program at EA.
Oh, right on.
And he said, "You're in that program, right?" I said, "Yes." And he said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" Well, tomorrow was Sunday. And I said, "What do you want me to do tomorrow?" He said, "Well, meet me at the radio station in this very room that we're sitting in." And so I did. I came down here. This is back when it was all live. There was no satellite.
Right. All
And
DJs.
KTO, right in this room next to us, they were spinning records. They were still playing oldies. It was the classic hits of the 50s, 60s, and 70s is what it was.
Right on.
And I walked in and he said, "Just play this stack of records. At the top of the hour, press this button." It's a Sunday night, hardly any commercials running, kind of a thing.
Right.
And at midnight, press this button, and go home, and I'll call you. And he walked out the door. And that was it. And so I thought, well, I can do this.
Right. Yeah, I could do that.
So I did. And I did it one night, and it turned into, so far, a 35-year career.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
You never know where that's going to start.
Yeah. And I ended up working the next Sunday, and then the next Sunday, and then Bud McMurray, who owned the station, sold them for a little while and had to repossess them. That's a whole other story. I could go on forever about that story.
That'd be a whole big story.
And anyway, long story short, guys would quit, and I'd take a step up the ladder, and guys would move on, take a step up the ladder, and pretty soon, we had a general manager here. Bud got him back. We had a general manager the whole time, and there were lots of ups and downs and craziness and stories that that just blow your mind that really happened.
And something we probably can't tell.
Yeah. And then all those years later, I worked here for 28 years, and then I bought him. And my previous owner, my previous boss, Bud McMurray, was just, he was really, really, really good to me, and it just ended up great. Our relationship with Bud, we text each other a couple times a week.
That's cool.
Just he's in California. He lives in Pacific Grove, California.
Right.
Nice. So, Reed, you were talking about spinning records and that, so things have obviously changed in the industry. Talk about some of the technological changes that have happened in radio.
Well, the cool thing, I was in long enough. I was right at the end of, I'm going to call it tape splicing, right?
Oh, yeah.
When we used to edit commercials, you literally would record on a reel-to-reel, and then you would lay it on a block that the tape would fit in, and then you would cut it with a razor.
Mark it, splice it,
have
cut
special tape.
and then squeeze it together. And sometimes if you were wrong, you were just wrong.
Yeah.
And you had to start over.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was like there was no undo button when you cut it with a razor knife.
And you were running cart machines too.
We were running cart machines. We were running reel to reel, and I watched it. I installed the first digital audio tape here. With DATs. I don't know if you remember those.
Yeah,
and then it went to mini discs, and so we would record on those. Then it went to music or recording onto a hard drive, and there were companies that made Akai made a 4-track recorder that was on a hard drive, and then it became that was you could tie that into a computer and do digital audio, do digital editing on that, and then it just became just a piece of software on any computer.
Right. Every song, everything.
And we had in this room that's behind you, there were probably 5. The top shelf is still there, but there were 5 shelves all the way around the room, and they were just vinyl.
Yeah.
Right.
Vinyl records. And there were 2 turntables in here, a stack of card decks, a reel to reel. You had the Associated Press. You got the news on a wire.
Rip and read.
Yeah, and in the background of all those early recordings, you could hear neat with the printer printing.
Yeah,
you shut the door and you could not get it. You could never get it quiet enough.
It's so loud
in a room this size. It's neat 24/7, and that's where just before the internet, And so I'm lucky I was right on the end of that era, where we were still using tape, still using, razor knives
Right.
to cut audio. And then I was able to convert us to the new stuff. There's actually a rack of equipment in our production room that has I think it's got a CD player, a mini disc player, and a DAT player. And when we remodeled that studio, I thought, I'll put them in the rack. If we ever need them, we'll plug them in.
Yeah.
Right.
We never have.
You can
still
open
the
up to
rack.
like the radio museum.
Yeah. Well, there's some radio museum pieces literally
Yeah.
in the basement of this
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
Some cart decks, some C-Tech equipment that there's our old AM transmitter, which is out behind us, is a museum piece. And I literally been here long enough to know the guy. Well, he's passed away now, but to know the guy that designed that transmitter. He was from El Paso, Texas. And I got to be really good friends with him and did a bunch of projects with him into his 80s before he passed away. Yeah. So I was there long enough to where when the old guys, quote, old guys, were pioneers when I started.
Yeah.
They
Just
were like
at that time when all that change came to the industry.
and they were pioneers. There's engineers that I worked with across the country and guys who started like Broadcast Electronics and who started companies like C-Tech, Sparta, Bauer Transmitters. All those guys, I got to know the actual people that designed it.
That's amazing.
And then they're all gone now.
It's like John Meyer or someone like that with Meyer Sound Labs.
Exactly. I got to know all those guys and work with them. Some of them I was the physical labor for these guys.
You help them out.
You were the guinea pig.
Yeah, and I did some of that too.
Yeah.
Smartcaster, which we use on the air today.
Right.
Yeah. I was customer number 3.
So you were like almost like a beta tester
You're
for him.
The sorcerer's apprentice.
Yeah, I was
so to
customer
speak.
number 3, and then they hired me, and I installed those automation systems all
Everywhere.
over the Western United States.
So, Reed, how has the technology changes in this industry, the radio industry? How has it helped you? And are there ways that it has not helped you?
When I started working here, there were 2 stations, not 3. There were 2, and there were 12 full-time people. Full on-air staff and
DJs.
weekend. And then there's a bunch of part-time guys during the weekends. And as we went along and we integrated some satellite stuff and some automated stuff, and now we have, the problem is when you had that many people in a small market, nobody was making any money. So the turnover was big. I got to go somewhere. I love what I do, but I got to go to Freeport because I need to support my family.
Right.
And so what we've tried to do is get a smaller staff and use technology. I think we have 7 full-time people now. Yeah. We have 3 stations.
Yeah.
And we have a website, and we have our digital billboards that we've been talking about. We talked about earlier.
Yep.
We didn't on this podcast, but we talked about it at lunch. Anyway.
We did, yeah.
And so we're running all that with, a staff of really 6 or 7 of us.
Well, it's the efficiency matter.
That's
the whole thing.
And the computers
space.
are doing. Back when I started, they were writing out program logs, sheet by sheet.
Yeah.
And now it's
Here's what you're going to play.
Yeah, and now it just goes into the computer and just, if you're not there, it still plays it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I remember, like I said, when we talked about before, I was in radio when I was at college. It was part of the way I paid my way through, but it was the same thing, right? Back in those days. All that. Everything was live. You had all on-air talent, all that stuff, and a big staff. And I always said, if I could have made money at that, I'd still be doing that. I'd stayed in here. But there was no way.
Well, I'll get your number afterwards. And we'll talk.
We'll talk numbers after that.
Well, and my first audition was actually down here at KATO when I got out of school.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, my teacher Terry Flood said, "Hey, I know the guy down there. They want to meet you." And I went down. And I went, "All right." My first time, and I go, "Well, $400 a month. Do you have a trailer I can live in behind the thing?"
Yeah.
He goes, "No." And I go, "Well, maybe I could sleep in my truck."
Yeah.
And
so that's what that has helped us. As far as hindrance goes, I don't know that there's nothing. There's stuff I look back on, and it's more nostalgia than it is.
Yeah.
Well, this didn't used to happen. There's so many different avenues, and to stay relevant is harder now than it used to be because there's a Spotify out there, and there's a Apple Music, and so to stay relevant with listeners, you have to work harder. And we always look at it as for our advertisers and ourselves is we want to use those avenues to stay relevant. We want to use social media. We want to use digital advertising to help them and help us stay relevant. So when Valley Telecom, talks about getting fiber in your house, more people hear it, more people see it on our screens, or more people, see it on our social media.
Well, you're keeping up with your audience too. So
yeah, and in order to do that, we've created a lot of stuff over the years. You guys have been part of some of it for off and on for years. With Gila Valley Idol, we've done that. This will be our 19th year.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
That's amazing.
That it's such staying power,
Yeah.
and the talent is amazing.
Yeah, and there's some stuff coming up from some of our former winners that's going to blow your mind.
I can't wait.
That I absolutely can't talk about.
Somebody's been sworn to privacy, secrecy.
But there really is some stuff that's coming up that's super cool, and we're getting ready for Idol season 19 coming up first of the year.
Well, after this break, let's talk a little bit about ways you've been involved in the community. That's a great example of one of them. We'll be back after this break, ladies and gentlemen.
The endless options for streaming movies, shows, and sports can be overwhelming. Valley Telecom is here to help with Stream Now, your ultimate online reference for all things streaming. Whether you're a binge watcher or just looking for a quick episode to enjoy, we've got you covered. Discover recommendations, compare platforms, and find the best content for your favorite streaming devices. Stream Now makes it simple to get the most out of your streaming experience. Enjoy the journey of discovering your next favorite show, movie, or live event all in one place. The best part is it's free to use. Unlock the door to endless viewing possibilities by going to gostreamnow.com/VTC today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back to Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. Appreciate you tuning in. Bob Dahlstrom here with my co-host and partner in crime, Ralph Score. Ralph over there
Yep.
running the board and making everything work. And we're talking with our special guest today, Reed Richins. And Reed, we were talking before the break about Gila Idol. You started that. You guys started that here locally 19 years ago.
It was another accident. Almost everything in my whole life has just been an accident.
All happy accidents, it sounds like. But this is one example of things you guys have done to kind of really get involved in the community. And this is one event, bringing out talent in the area.
I was always playing music. I played in a band. I still play in a band called Crossroads. I've played with the same guitar player for 35 years.
That's awesome.
Some of my best friends, it was the same four guys for 28 years before one of them retired, and so music's always been a huge part of. I've been able to make a living playing music when I was in college. I made a living when I was first married, working in radio during the day and playing music at night,
Right.
And it kind of moved into doing more production. I own Double R Sound, and that has grown and grown and grown and grown and kind of a little bit out of hand at sometimes. You're talking to me at the time of year where we just did 11 weeks in a row with multi-shows.
And we got that really big new stage and everything you guys got.
Beautiful
two
stage.
stages in there. The Graham County Chamber of Commerce and United Way of Graham and Greenlee County put a grant together to get one of those stages because, I want it to be professional here in the Valley, but you can't spend $200,000 on a stage and make it worth. Nobody can afford to use it if you're trying to make money at it. So
True.
I was on the Chamber of Commerce board. I was the president of the Chamber of Commerce board for quite a few years, and so the productions here in the Valley, we've just tried to upgrade them. I own all the sound gear and the lighting gear and all that stuff, and then the stages we manage them. Technically, we manage the stages, one for the Lions Club and one for the Graham County Chamber of Commerce, which has just been amazing. And
well, it's such a busy time of year too, like you said, and those things are being used. Those stages are always in use.
Both of them out multiple weeks, probably 7 or 8 times in the last 2 months.
Yeah. What really amazes me, and this comes down to Gila Idol, is just the level of talent that shows up here every year.
Yeah.
And it seems like the bar keeps getting raised as the age gets lower.
Yeah. And so Idol, we started talking about that. And we kind of moved around, but Idol was one of those things where it was big on TV at the time. It was Kelly Clarkson had won. And I thought, you know what, we could do a little contest. Yeah. We could do something like this. So we just set up one night and prayed that people would show up, and it was a packed house. And thought, well, we could probably do that again. So we
and again
and then
and again,
and then it just evolved and it evolved into 7 preliminaries and callback nights, and we went from praying people would show up at the Manor House when we did the finale there at the Manor House to, having some near sellout crowds at the David M. Player Center for the Arts, and it just, people ask me all the time, well, how long are you going to keep it going? And I always say, well, until it dies.
Right. Yeah.
And I really expected it to do that.
Well, I mean, every year it never fails. Right? I know you worry about throw a party, nobody's going to show up.
Yeah.
But that's never been an issue. It always plays out to almost a packed house now.
Yeah, right.
And like you said, the talent level every year is phenomenal here in the
and
Valley.
Same with Battle of the Bands. Battle of the Bands this next year is year 20.
Yeah, and that's another one that you guys do right around the 4th, right around
We
July
used to
4th.
try to do it. I started it once again by accident. Somebody was like, well, nobody ever does anything here on the 4th of July. It's dead.
Right.
So everybody goes out of town. I thought, well, I'll do something. So we started a nickel picnic.
Right.
And then just brought in my band and another band, and it was pretty big. And I thought, you know what? Why don't we just have a battle of the bands?
Right.
And so the next year we did, and it's been
gangbusters.
Yeah,
since,
and it's gotten bigger and bigger, and like you said, the talent level it's gotten bigger. And we've done stuff with, advertising with digital outside of the market to say, okay, you band from Tucson, you band from, come and be in our battle of the bands, and you could win a couple $1,000s, and the talent level has just been through the roof the last, it always has. There's always been a couple that have been like, whoa.
It's always had a great response, and those are just 2 examples of what you guys do. Kind of give back to the community. You talk about the food drive you're involved in.
Yeah, the food drive is going on right now.
How many years have you been doing that now? Another 20 years?
Well, since 1990, I got it. We were talking about it on the air, and Donna McGoy, who's the Graham County School Superintendent, sent me a picture of her class when she was still teaching in 1999, winning the elementary school food drive.
No kidding.
Because we were talking about, we don't know how long it's been going.
Right.
Because we just do it. You just get up and do it again. And she sent me a picture, like, here is a picture of my winning class in 1999. So I know you've been doing it for at least 25 years.
At least, yeah.
And so, and so that's a cool thing. We're back, we fly in a helicopter. We're hooked up with Air Evac this year, and we fly in a helicopter to each winning school, and we let the winning class in each elementary school come tour the helicopter. They get a pizza party from Domino's. They get, cupcakes from Creative Custom Cakes. They get a trophy from Trophies and Teas. And we literally will bring between 35 and 40,000 food items to the food bank.
And they really,
awesome.
really depend on what you guys do with this.
And they have told me in the past, there's just no way they could even survive without that. Now it's become that big of a deal to them.
Well, especially the holidays, right? That's when it's at the most needy.
And we will literally deliver it the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
That's awesome.
So it's coming up really, really.
Yeah, the kids are collecting right now. Yeah, the kid, and then we do the holidays. We also do, Secret Santa.
Yeah.
Where we give away, our sponsors are freaking amazing.
12 Days of Christmas.
The 12 Days of Christmas thing is just little gifts, but the Secret Santa thing, you actually have to write a nomination in, and Harrelson Tire will give you a set of 4 tires, and then you tell us why this person deserves it, and then we have to go through and decide, and it's gut wrenching.
I was going to say some of those stories will bring you to tears.
We have cancer treatments in Tucson, and our tires won't make it, and somebody's got a baby at the NICU, and you're like, how do you choose between these two?
Yeah.
And I've literally blessed their hearts, but the people at Harrelson are like, we're just going to give it to both of them.
Yeah,
that's great.
And that's just one example. Advanced Air every year has put a new heater air conditioner on somebody's home.
Yeah.
And we have to decide who gets that out of the hundreds. If you type a thing that says, my family deserves it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
Okay, we'll put that on the other pile. But then you get these stories, and you're like, if this stuff is true, and we'll kind of verify,
right.
then these guys deserve it, you know. And you get these stories like mom's working 3 jobs, taking care of her elderly dad, and you get a special needs kid, and we can't buy groceries, and Thrifty will give you $500 to Thrifty,
Right.
It's amazing.
Just to buy groceries. And it's that stuff is where you're giving back.
And that speaks so highly about the community itself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the real stuff. That's the power of radio.
Yeah.
I mean, we all want to make money. We all want to support our local industry. We all want to do that. But that power of radio is like,
the power of radio and the power of a small community, smaller community.
Absolutely.
Working together.
Speaking of the power, I think there's we have something really powerful. It's called the question of the day.
We do. Reed, are you ready for this?
I don't know. I mean...
All right, well, here's what it is.
Because I've heard some of the trivia that you guys spit out at the beginning of this thing, and I thought, who cares?
Well, you're right.
Well, feel free to use it anywhere you want.
Right,
Read on the air, in a meeting,
Sharks
whatever.
like fiber cable.
Let me tell you about the woolly rhino.
Redbox kiosks. McDonald's billion served. I mean, well, this question, there's no right or wrong answer, okay?
Unless you're
you don't
David.
know what the question will be, but you have a little power here.
Okay.
I have 8 questions, so give me a number
8?
between 1 and 8, and I'll ask you one of those questions.
4. Right in the
4.
middle. Yeah.
Okay. How many rabbits would it take to kill a rhino?
In my opinion,
That is your question of the day, Reed.
all of them. All of them.
Yes, it would.
Just gather them from wherever.
Just get all the rabbits.
All the rabbits.
Sheer volume is going to get the job
Yeah,
done.
I
is
still
what
don't
you're
know if that
saying.
would do it. Yeah.
I don't know either, but I like that answer. What's it going to take? All of them. That's all you can do on that one. That's perfect. I like that answer.
Well,
That's a
you
good
go.
answer, man. All right, we've been talking with our special guest, Reed Richins, today. Reed, any projects coming up you want anybody to know about that you can talk about?
Well, we just kind of did talk about, we're in the middle of the food drive right now. We just literally, you guys walked in the middle of a planning meeting this morning for the 12 Days of Christmas thing that we do.
And we committed to it, so we're in.
Yeah, you guys always do something in there. And that's more fun stuff. That's
Right.
more, we want to give you a gift certificate to have fun. And we want to give you guys, I think, do an Alexa or a tablet or
Yeah,
something.
we always try to do some smart device or
and so that's fun
device.
stuff. But we're also...
we give away a Lexus? Oh, no, we're wrong.
Yeah.
A ride in one.
The 12 Days of Christmas thing takes a lot of planning. We also do the Christmas light thing where
Right.
you register your home and we give prizes to people vote online and we give prizes to the best lit house according to the public. And we have a map, a GPS map that you can follow the Christmas lights. So we're working on that stuff right now. And then right at the first of the year, we'll roll out Gila Valley Idol year number 19.
I know. We're excited.
And so, we have stuff going on. We always do. And then production wise, my sound company, we always have stuff going on, events coming up. We've done everything from in the last month to Bisbee's Mariachi Festival and Blues Festival to Baghdad's Freeport Company Picnic to Morency's to the Salsa Fest to the Graham Fair to the Greenlee Fair to the, and so that season is kind of closing and then we're going into Mary Main Street and the Light Parade and,
Yep, and round out the year. And
then,
like you said, January starts Gila Idol.
And that's a 2-month project.
Right.
It's all of February and all of March, really. It's the end of January to the end of March.
Yeah.
And it's just straightforward. And then you're into the summertime again. We get ready for Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
It's just we've been doing it for a long time. And that's just kind of has a little roller coaster flow to it, but it's always climbing up. It never seems to slow down and, go down and get steady.
And we'll be there for Gila Idol.
Yeah.
We'll be there for Gila Idol.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things I was going to say I love about working with you and working with you guys. A lot of radio stations out there. A lot of radio stations give lip service about, we're part of the community and all that stuff. You guys truly are a big part of the community. You guys give back an awful lot. Yeah, you guys get stuff back too.
Yeah.
But you really give a lot to the community.
And I can go, and you guys even use this guy in your advertising. My old grandpa, I remember you had a picture of him in your advertising.
Right.
One of your first Valley customers from Animas, New Mexico.
Yes, we did. We put our 50th anniversary.
He told me years and years ago, a little kid, never feel like you got to back up to the pay window.
I like that.
Yeah. And so I always thought that, well, if somebody's going to pay me to do something, I'm going to do a great job.
Right.
And I'm going to work my butt off to make sure whatever job you've hired me to do, we're going to do it. And I take that here in radio and in my audio company. We want people to go, who did that? Well, we did it.
Yeah.
And we were big in the community and our motto, and you can see it on everything we do, is shop local.
Yeah.
You got to do business here in town.
And you commit to that, and you guys show that every day.
You can't even work here unless you drive a vehicle that was bought here in the Gila Valley. It was parked it's one of ours and it's parked in the parking lot. It was bought here in the Gila Valley.
I love it. Well, Reed, it's been a pleasure to have you on here.
And by the way, before you get out of here, You guys have been a sponsor of my morning show for years.
A long time.
So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And lunch today.
Well, and I'm glad to count you, happy to count you as a friend, not just associate. We work together, but a friend as well. And guys, that's going to do it for us today in this episode of Valley's Bits, Bytes, and Banter. For Ralph Score, my co-host and partner in crime, thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll talk to you soon.